Hello, beautiful master manifestors. It is Olivia Grace, and I'm back with another video. And today we are talking about a success story. It's actually my success story about being on your bridge of events. And even when you're in the midst of like what you're in and it looks fucking horrible, you're still on your bridge. Your desire is still already completed and yours. And you're also never too late, you guys, to choose better for yourself. It's never too late for you to choose better. So I'm going to tell you guys the story about how I manifested a place to stay. So you guys know that my SP and I broke up. We were living together. So I have been kind of like like that. Like I've been like floating from like place to place, just trying to get my head together, and also, you know, trying to figure out a place where I can be. And so it basically got to the point where I have 2 trips coming up next month. All of my bills are coming up. I was just kind of chilling in Florida at my parents' house. But I needed to get back to Atlanta so that I could work and, you know, start stacking up some money for these trips that I have coming up, and also get all my bills paid and things like that. And so obviously I would need a place to stay. And I'm at my ex's house right now, but obviously I'm not trying to be here. Like I have to get my own place. So I had started just looking and looking, and everything was just so fucking expensive, you guys. I mean, people are wanting over $1,000 for just a room in an apartment where you'll share a bathroom with someone else, like a stranger. And so as time is just kind of like narrowing down, and I'm feeling like this pressure and this stress like building up on me, and I'm like, okay, I have got to get something figured out, right? So I'm looking at all these places. I find an Airbnb that's pretty affordable that I could stay at for like a few days while I continue to look and try and find somewhere else to stay. And so I end up getting on Craigslist because I started to think to myself, like, what would be ideal for me? What would be ideal? And I think I don't know if I even said it in one of my other videos that I had made, but because like I'd manifested this house that my ex had bought like in like 2 days. I literally had done a sat scene. 2 days later, the process started for him to buy this house. And so for me, I really see manifesting a house as something like really easy. And so I had kind of just played with the idea of being in a house and, you know, having, you know, being in a house or whatever. I just played with that idea. And when I was seeing, you know, what was out there in Airbnb world of, you know, sharing bathrooms and just these little like rooms, I was just like, I would love to be able to have a place for myself. You know, I'd love to be able to have a place for myself. And I'm just kind of playing with these ideas. I want my own bathroom. I'm not willing to share, whatever. So, right. So I arrive at the idea like, well, you know what? Instead of trying to look for a Airbnb or something that I have to move and move and move, I should just look for a roommate where I can just move in. The place is already there. I don't have to worry about anything. And then, you know, I could just like, it would be wonderful if it could be a female, like a woman. And, you know, I could just move in with them. That would be great. So I was like, let me go on Craigslist and see if there are any like ads, I guess, for women looking for roommates. So I went on there. And I didn't see ads for roommates, but I did see an ad for someone offering like a room in a home that was $600. It was going to be $600 a month, which is like unfreaking heard of, right? And the person, you know, obviously Craigslist can be shady, but the person they weren't asking for money up front. They were literally telling you like, come see the place. If you know, like the place, then you can get, you know, you can bring your money and we can, you know, go ahead and just go from there. So it seemed pretty legit to me. And I ended up talking to the person. This was a few days before I was even like before I was even going to be back in Atlanta. And so I was speaking with the person, and he was telling me like, you know, basically that he had people coming like that day. And, you know, if I wanted it, then I should come that day to come see it and put the deposit or, you know, pay the rent and like get in there before all these other people come and see it. And he was so kind, you guys, like so kind. And and I just was telling him like, look, I'm in Florida, like I'm not going to be back until this, like, can I pay you a deposit just to hold it for me? And, you know, all of the stuff, and I'll be there in a few days. And he literally kept telling me, I feel like this is meant for you. I feel like this is meant for you. Like, I feel like you're meant to have this. So I will hold it for you. I'll hold it. You can send the deposit and I'll hold it for you. And then when you get here, we'll just get everything squared away. So that in itself was a win. I mean, even when I saw it and I saw that he had just like, cause I had seen the posting right after he had posted it. And I knew after, you know, someone that's been looking, I mean, somebody charging $600 a month for everything included, when people are charging you over $1,000 for just a small room in an apartment, like I knew that people were going to be jumping on that. But I was like, no, this is my reality, you guys. Remind yourself, okay? Literally remind yourself daily that this shit is only going the way that you fucking say that it's going to go, okay? So I reminded myself, no, he's going to get it. He's going to get it for me. He's going to save it for me, right? So he saves it for me. And that happened. And I was happy about that, right? So now I go and I tell my mom. And my mom is like freaking out, basically. She's like, Craigslist, and this is a guy that you're going to stay with. That's not safe. I mean, and you know, Atlanta is like it's the highest place in the States of like human trafficking and stuff like that, I guess because of the airport. And so now I have all these thoughts running in my head and I'm afraid. And she's like, I mean, yeah, he's not scamming you out of the money, but you don't know what he's going to do to you once you get there and just all this stuff. So I start like freaking the fuck out. And meanwhile, I have to leave and go, you know, there in like a few days. So I'm like freaking out. And I started to think, I thought about you guys. You don't even know that you guys inspire me in my low moments, because you guys like keep me accountable, because I know that I'm sharing my life experience with you guys. So once again, I just thought to myself, like, okay, what would be ideal for me? Not looking at facts, right? Like leave the facts alone, right? But what would I want if I could have anything that I wanted, right? What would I want? And I thought to myself again about being in a house somewhere that is big, beautiful, where I would have my own bathroom, my own bedroom, and somewhere that's clean and somewhere that I would feel really safe, right? So this is what I did, you guys. I started doing actually the lullaby method, which was telling myself I have a big, beautiful, clean home. I'm sleeping in a big, beautiful, clean home. I start telling myself that as I'm falling to sleep, right? So the next day, my mom is talking to me and she's like, well, I talked to your aunt, and your aunt has a friend that you met like a couple years ago, and that friend has a house, and she says you should reach out to her and see if you can stay in her house. And initially, you guys, I was actually upset because I am you guys, you wouldn't think it here, but I'm actually a very private person. I share my experience with you guys because I know that you guys get me and you guys are my people, you know, but, as far as my personal life, even my friends don't know the things that are like, not every detail of the things that are going on in my life. So, when I heard that my mom was telling my aunt, like what was going on, I was upset because I was like, I don't want this being like family table talk business. Like, I don't want my business going through. And she was like, well, I was just so concerned or whatever. But when she said that, and I thought of that, I was like, wait, like this actually could definitely be, because if she was willing to let me come and stay in her house, her home, because I'd been to her house is very nice. I was like, that would be so ideal. This is somebody that I know. This is a woman. And to top it off, you guys, she's a flight attendant. So she's barely ever there. So my mom tells me that, and I basically end up messaging the woman and speaking to her, and she tells me that yes, she actually tells me that she herself was actually looking to rent out her house, like rent out rooms in her house, but she was feeling apprehensive because she didn't know, like she didn't want to have strangers in her house. So that this was, she literally said her words were that the universe put us together on purpose because she was looking for somebody to come and rent. And then I randomly popped up. Like I met her like twice 2 years ago. We hadn't spoke since then. And all of this happened. So I say that to say, number one, that was like such a perfect example of what you're seeking is seeking you. Number two is that in the midst of all of this, you guys, I was so fucking stressed, okay? I was so fucking stressed. I was so afraid. There was so like, it was just not ideal. Nothing was fucking ideal for me at all. You know, like even me trying to find the place and then finding the place, but then being really afraid, like I'm going to be living here. I'm going to be really uncomfortable living with a stranger and also other strangers that are renting the other rooms in the house, you know? So I was just feeling all of that. But had I not, you guys, let's say like I had just, you know, found an Airbnb and just paid the high prices of the Airbnbs and just whatever, my mom wouldn't feel stressed out. She wouldn't feel the need to talk to my aunt. My aunt wouldn't feel the need to bring up, you know, this person that has a literal home that I could stay in. You know what I mean? So every single thing was me on my bridge, even though it felt like everything was just continuing to crumble around me. And you guys, I was not in a good state in majority of this at all. I was doing my best, but I just wasn't. And I also did do the SAT scenes. I mean, you guys, I gotta tell y'all, SAT scenes, they never freaking fail. Sometimes I have like, it'll be difficult for me to come up for SAT scenes because I feel like when we're in our own situation, it can be difficult for us to like think of how, like what exactly the end would look like. But I do make personalized SAT scenes and revision scenes and custom affirmations. And I'm doing sessions. I don't think I mentioned any of that in the beginning of the video. But yeah, so I can make a SAT scene for you. But the SAT scene that I did, because I did remember bits and pieces of her house. So I just imagined myself being in the house cooking. I imagined myself being in like a room, being like just feeling safe. That was the vibe that I was feeling in my SAT scene, was just being somewhere and feeling relief, feeling like I'm good. And she has like a nice back porch. So I imagined myself walking, just used all the sensory vividness that I could. And I fell asleep like that twice. And obviously ended up speaking to her. Everything ended up working out. Perfect. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys that. And something, I was actually listening to Joel Osteen when I was driving, because I had just quickly sent her a voice message. It's like really difficult for me to ask for help. So I didn't want to, but I just sent her a quick voice message and I started my drive, and I was still, because everything was still up in the air, I was just like feeling so anxious. And I was listening to Joel Osteen, and he was saying, you know, just because your desire hasn't happened last night doesn't mean it can't happen this morning. You can be in the problem in one moment and then solution in the next moment. And I really felt that. And literally that's what happened for me, because I was driving and I was like so anxious and so up, like just tight and wound up. And then in the next moment, she texted me and was like, yeah, like, you know, call me and let's get this figured out. But that's something I think we can do. So all that stress and all that tension and everything melted off of me, you know, just in that, like from moment to moment, it was completely different, you know? So I just want to say to you guys, like, your situation may look like what it looks like, but you're still on your bridge. There's no way that when I booked with that guy, and I knew, because I kept telling my mom, I was like, Mommy, I have a good feeling about this. I do have a good feeling. I know it's scary. I know it's Craigslist. I know it's this, and the guy's name is as Raphael. And it's funny because there's an archangel named Raphael, and he's said to be like an angel that disguises himself as a human to help people along their journeys. But I had a good feeling, but the good feeling wasn't for me to go move in there. The good feeling was for me to set it up, just so that my mom could talk to my aunt, so she could talk to her friend. Like, I couldn't have guessed that. I couldn't have seen that. I couldn't have known, you know, but just continue to have faith, you guys. And just like I said, in that moment when I decided, like, I can do better for myself though. I can, like, yeah, I got this room and that's cool, but I feel like I could do something better for myself. I can be in a place that will be more comfortable for me, you know, and I created that. So don't accept anything unless it's what you want, you know, don't accept anything unless it's what you want. Dare to imagine, you guys, just like Neville says, dare to assume that you have what you want. Dare to assume that you are who you want to be. Assume it. There's no time. There's nothing to wait for. Just assume it now. But yeah, that's my little success story. And I hope it encourages you just to persist, you guys, and just to continue and not to give up. And it's okay, you guys, when you're feeling down. Like I said, I was in a low state for like the past like couple weeks, you know, so it's okay. It's nothing's going to go wrong from that, you know, just continue to remember who you are. So I intend that helps. I know that it did. And I love you guys.